Today we're going to get started with our argumentative writing workshop. If you see this little symbol on the screen, you may want to pause the video and take some notes. Argumentative writing is one of the most important types of writing that you'll tackle in middle school, high school, and even college level writing. That's because arguing in favor of what you believe is an important skill in everyday life. To win an argument in everyday life and to convince people that the way you see things is the correct way, you need to convince your audience with clear reasons and evidence why your side is correct. Argumentative writing requires the same. You need to clearly pick a side, state your reasons why your side is correct, and back those reasons up with evidence. You're probably pretty great at arguing in everyday life. The only thing holding most people back from being excellent at argumentative writing is just organization. A good argumentative essay must have several parts to it in order to work. When you master making sure that each argumentative essay you write has the pieces that we're going to talk about in this workshop, argumentative writing will become the easiest type of writing that you can do, period. You have opinions. So once you can present those opinions the right way, you'll end up winning those arguments, whether it's on paper or whether it's in real life. Let's start by looking at these standards that students are asked to be able to meet for argumentative writing in each grade level of middle and high school. These standards get deeper, but this is the end result. You'll notice that all these are very similar even when split between middle and high school, because they basically are the same. You'll notice these same three words repeated: claims, reason, and evidence. That's because these three things are the most essential parts of any argumentative essay. An argumentative essay can't exist without them. You'll need more than these to have a great essay, but a great essay must have these three things to work. So let's review, because you've probably covered these before. We'll be pretty quick. Claim is the side you pick and defend in an argumentative essay. Reasons are what you use to defend your side, or the reasons why your side is the best side. Evidence are facts you use to back up your side. Notice we use the word facts, so things that can be proven. Think of these three things as the backbone of your argumentative essay. They serve as the pillars you need to support all the other pieces of your essay that you're going to have in there. Next, we'll plug these into the structure of an argumentative essay. If you follow the arrow over to the bigger chart, you'll see that claim, reasons, and evidence support all parts of the complete argumentative essay. Let's step back for a second though and focus on the left-hand column we've circled in green. We're going to start here. Study the structure as it goes from intro to reasons 1, 2, and 3, the counterclaim, and the conclusion. It's okay if you don't know what all those are yet, just try to remember the order that they're written in. Take a moment to pause and study that structure, and then we're going to go into a skill check. Our first skill check asks these two questions. Question number 1. Try to arrange each big piece of the argumentative essay into the correct order, preferably without looking at your chart. Question 2. What did we say were the three parts that made up the backbone of an argumentative essay? As in, if you don't have them, you can't have an argumentative essay. Next, we're going to shift gears. We're going to look at an example prompt for an argumentative essay. This one is looking at the question of, should kids learn cursive? As in, should students in school be learning cursive? Let's read and get some background info on the topic. Should kids learn cursive? As fewer schools teach it, this classic writing style may vanish. Not long ago, most Americans knew how to write in beautiful letters connected by loops. This style of handwriting, called cursive, was taught in every public school for hundreds of years. But today, 41 states in the US don't require students to learn it. A powerful force has threatened to wipe out cursive: technology. Today, people send texts and emails instead of writing letters. Many students type school assignments on a computer instead of writing by hand. These days, teachers say they don't have time to teach cursive. They are under pressure to cover the math and reading skills students need to do well on tests and in college. Some people argue that learning cursive should be like learning a musical instrument, an art, rather than a required skill. But not everyone is ready to see cursive go. Some studies have suggested that writing in cursive improves our thinking skills. For people with dyslexia, writing in cursive can make it easier to form words correctly. and cursive connects us to our history. Everything from the Declaration of Independence to our grandparents' diaries is written in cursive. Below that, it explains both sides that could be chosen in this argument. One side saying, yes, it is important to learn cursive, and here's why. And the other side saying, no, it is not important to learn cursive, and here's why, along with a few reasons that connect to each of those points. Feel free to pause if you want to go over those reasons. Next, pause and reflect. Which of the two sides from the prompt do you agree with the most, and why? You don't have to go into too much detail on that, but give a brief description of which side you align with the most and why you think that is. Now that we've explored the topic, we're going to look at an essay that was written in response to that prompt. This essay isn't perfect, and we'll look at some ways to improve that essay later on. What we're doing right now is just kind of breaking it into pieces and matching it to the chart we looked at earlier in our discussion. This argumentative essay is titled "The Importance of Cursive Writing in Today's Education." So from the title alone, you can see what side they're going to align with. They believe that cursive is important to today's education. As technology advancements continue to shape the way we communicate, some argue that cursive writing is no longer necessary and should no longer be taught in schools. However, the benefits of teaching cursive writing in schools far outweigh any perceived drawbacks. One of the main reasons for teaching cursive writing in schools is that it promotes cognitive development. According to a study published in the Journal of Educational Psychology, children who learn to write in cursive have better fine motor skills and a better understanding of the mechanics of writing. Furthermore, the act of connecting letters in cursive requires more brain activity, leading to improved memory and increased creativity. Another benefit of teaching cursive writing in schools is that it promotes historical and cultural literacy. Cursive writing has been used for centuries in important historical documents, such as the Declaration of Independence, and it is essential for students to be able to read and understand these documents. Additionally, cursive writing is used in many other languages and cultures, such as Arabic and Chinese, and it is important for students to be exposed to different writing styles. Additionally, cursive writing is an important skill for students to have in their personal and professional lives. Cursive writing is still used in many official documents, such as legal contracts, and it is an important skill for students to have when they enter the workforce. Furthermore, cursive writing is a personal skill that students can use to express themselves and create their own written works. Some may argue that technology has made cursive writing obsolete. But it is important to remember that technology does not replace the need for traditional skills. Cursive writing is a skill that has been valued for centuries and should continue to be taught in schools. Additionally, not all people have access to technology, and it is important for them to have the ability to write and read in cursive. In conclusion, cursive writing should be taught in schools. It promotes cognitive development, cultural literacy, and it is useful in professional settings. We should not let technology replace traditional skills. As educators, parents, and community members, let's advocate for cursive writing education to ensure that students have access to this valuable skill. And that wraps up the essay, "The Importance of Cursive Writing in Today's Education." Now that we've read and looked at an example of an argumentative essay, we're going to try to label each of the different pieces of that argumentative essay to kind of wrap up our discussion today. If we put the essay side by side with our chart that we were looking at just a moment ago, we can begin to break down each of the different pieces. In the orange, we have our introduction to the topic. It begins with a very brief hook, a little bit of background info, and ultimately states what side we're taking in this argument. Continuing on from there, in the yellow, we have our 3 reason paragraphs. Each of them goes into a different point, defending the side that they've chosen in their essay. You can pause if you want to go in and look at some of the evidence that they've put to back up their reasons, which is why those paragraphs tend to be just a little bit longer than some of the others. The counterclaim comes up next, and it's circled in blue. The counterclaim predicts what the other side is going to say. They're going to say that cursive is obsolete and we don't need it anymore, but then they're going to come back with reasons to shoot down the other side and say this is why we still need cursive. They're predicting the opposition and then going against the opposition. And finally, in the purple, we have our conclusion, where you're kind of restating your claim and asking your audience to come to action and take your side and then do something about it. Take one last moment to study that structure, write down any notes you want to, and then we'll finish with our final skill check. For our final skill check for this lesson of our workshop, all you need to do is label each of the paragraphs. You'll see a number corresponding to each to the right of each of the paragraphs. Good luck! This concludes lesson 1 of our workshop covering the structure of an argumentative essay. Next lesson we'll continue looking at the structure and beginning to dive a little bit deeper into each of the parts.